Hey, welcome back to shop. My name's Bill. It's Pirate Solutions Forestry, and my day kind of got hacked into pieces, so I'm knocking out customer projects, people that dropped me off two strokes to fix. And did a plate compactor earlier, and I'm doing a blower, and I got a unique situation that a lot of people don't know how to do. And I'm going to see if I can do it for you here on video, and hopefully you'll say, holy shit, that's how you do it, and it'll save you a lot of time and keep you from having to buy recoil springs. So I'll show you what's going on. So I'm doing this backpack blower here. They had a problem with the recoil drum. The string was pulled out of it. I just happen to have a 362 XP cover here that the inside of this, under this recoil mechanism here, this cover is actually broken. So this is actually no good. But it had a really good Husqvarna spring and Husqvarna pull cord on it. Not spring, pull cord and handle on it. So I was replacing it. I had stuck the string in, started coiling it up, and the spring was just bouncing around inside. Something was wrong. Don't know what. Don't know who did what to what. But when I pulled this off, with it untensioned, this shouldn't happen, but it was untensioned. When I pulled it off, the spring came flying out. Shouldn't have, but it did. So I'm going to show you, and I have unfortunately done this many times in my life, trying to save springs, especially on chainsaws. There's Danny. Hopefully we can keep you guys stuck like this so Danny doesn't walk through. He's on a lead right now, so that he's not supposed to walk around up front because the road's right there. I'm going to show you how I do this, and hopefully it works. I'm going to pause you 1 second while I get my gloves on. Cool. We'll see if we can do this while Danny is hunting around here. I think I have you got you guys framed in pretty well here. You won't be able to see my face, but you will be able to see what's going on. So what you want to do, at least the way I do it anyway, is on this outfeed side, you want to secure this outfeed side so it can't move. So what I'm going to use, I just happen to have in my pack from going to fix the plate compactor, what I took with me. I just happen to have a Phillips set on a extension, so we're just going to use that for now. So we're just going to screw that down in a place where the spring can attach to it, so it can't unspring, so to speak. You want to get this spring so it's lying nice and flat like this. We want to keep that end hooked on it. It would be better if it was maybe a little nail or something like that, but I think this is going to work fine. The next thing you want to do is you want to take a drill, and you can see your Jacob's jaws here, or whatever kind of chuck you have. You can open up these jaws just a little bit so that they'll fit over this spring here. So you want to get them open just enough so that it'll fit over it. And then we're going to tighten it down on top of it. Usually they'll fit right in the bend here. This might take me a second to get it right, but believe me, it works. It's just not open enough, I think. Danny. Okay, that's going to work. You just got to get this thing stuck in here. I wish I kind of used a nail now, but this should work fine. Once we get this thing stuck over the spring, then we're going to tighten it down. Sometimes you don't have to, but we're just going to tighten it down a little bit. And then we're going to run this thing forward, or the way that it tightens the spring down. This is going to be a pain, I think. I'm just going to stick my So you got to kind of hold your hand over here, and we're just going to coil it down. You want to keep it flat. If it ends up not being flat, you're going to have to start over, but just coil the thing down till it's kind of tight. And here's a little bit of the tricky part here. Once you get it kind of all clamped down, we're going to pull the drill off it while you hold it in place so it doesn't go anywhere. And then we're going to stick a zip tie through it. So you want it kind of close to the edge. Get Danny hunting stuff down there. I'm trying to keep pressure with my other hand here with the glove on so that this thing doesn't go flinging all over the place. I used to like to put 2 of them on here, but 1 usually works fine. I am going to put another one in here because I want to trap this hook end real quick. I don't want that hook end to come flinging out. Should have put it there anyway. Come on. Come on, thing. Come on, you can do it. Now, if you have smaller zip ties, they usually work better. But this is just what I had lying around without going. Jesus, she's like plowing through. Without going crazy looking for a whole shit pile of them. That's what we had. So we got it coiled up now. We're going to go see if it fits inside. Sometimes it still won't. You might have to go tighter on this. And you can just hook it back on the screw, put your thing back in the middle, tighten it up a little bit. But I'm going to pause you guys 1 second. We'll go see if we can get it in the drum. Now, I'm doing this based on an assumption that there's nothing wrong with this spring, which sometimes can be a bad assumption. But the way that this one works, or at least it looks like to me, I've never done one of these before, but it's got a little hook in here on the top. It looks like this hook hooks into it. So we're going to get the center kind of stuck around the middle here. Try to get this hook hooked in there where it looks like it goes. Yeah, like that. See that right there? That hook hooks in here. This stays around the center. And then what we need to do is we kind of need to get this thing in place before we cut off the bands. Now, sometimes just looking at this the way it is right now, it almost looks like I need to cut this band first and get it out of there so that I can get this over. I'm not really sure. I'm going to take my gloves off. It's had a lot of gunk on it. I'll probably clean it. Typically, when these are uncoiled, they don't have any tension on them. Let me see if I can get it set in its home here before I undo this thing because I don't want it to come flinging out. Okay, that one's in there. Oh, I had it. I think I can get it the way it is. Yep, there we go. Okay, so now it's down inside its hole here. It's down captured in the entire housing with the hook hooked. This one here, this particular zip tie, see if I can get right under you here. Oops. Keep looking down. This particular zip tie is kind of in the way, so I'm going to cut that one out first. And I'm going to hold down on it so that it doesn't come flinging out. Now, if it does come flinging out, I apologize. It doesn't always work the first time. There we go. Now, we're going to take this out of here while holding down on everything so it doesn't go flinging. And then we're going to very, very carefully kind of release the tension just so that it seats itself. So right now it's mostly seated in there. I don't know if you can see that. We're hooked in the hook here. We're kind of seated all the way around. And the only one that's holding us right now is this one. We're going to take this one out. This one should be easier. Still want to hold down good and tight. You don't know if there's anything wrong with it. You don't want everything to go flinging. And I'm going to try to save this, guys. But what just happened was when I pulled the zip tie, the hook came undone. If I let this go, it's going to go everywhere. So I'm going to try to save it. I'm keeping pressure on it. This is why you want to keep pressure on it the whole time. All right, I got it. So now we're going to just let the thing uncoil out into its seat real easily. There shouldn't be much tension on this when it gets done. It's almost there. All right, cool. So now it's back in its seat. It's hooked here. It's back in its seat, and it's untensioned. I see what now why it came off. This probably stuck and pulled out because there's still quite a bit of tension on this coil. But that's how you do it. That's how you reuse a spring. Let me just get you up on me. And we've reached a cornerstone in this video. So if you want to see how to get the spring coil back up to get it back into something so you can reuse it, you've seen it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get this thing back together and working. If you want to hang on for that, I think that's great. What we don't know is, if you look at this, sometimes these get bent and the geometry is not right. This, in theory, so when it recoils, it unspins like this, which means that you have to coil it like that. This thing should get pulled through to coil itself up, and then it springs back and goes like this and rips it back in. So when you pull it out, it pulls out like that, which means this is tensioning it. And then when you let go, it pulls it back in, which means it's spinning this way, which means this should pull it back in. So I'm not sure if there's something wrong with this end right here or not, but we're going to try it anyway. So if you were just here to see how to recoil a spring, you're done. If you want to hang on and see if I can save this thing, then hang on. So we look at the bottom here and try to pick some of this. Make sure, see where your view is framing. Yeah, your view is framing right here. It's a lot of junk in the bottom here. It looks like somebody once upon a time, doesn't actually look like it actually really happened, used a whole bunch of red grease in here. I think you guys can see that. So it appears to me that these little wing tips right here are what's going to grab that hook. So if you see that hook, this little tip right here is what's going to grab it. So we're going to try and get this thing back in there and see if we can get it actuating right. It needs to try and go into the right spot here. And it looks like there's enough clearance around the wire to do it. So let's try and get it like this. I want to get this rope. We're going to wrap this rope and stick it through this little hole here. That little hole right there is there so that you can coil this thing. And I'll show you that in a minute. But let's see if we can get this thing down in. It's going to go right there. So it's not popping down in there. Let's see what's holding us off. So we got to get it more like this. What's happening right now is that this thick part right here is hitting on the loop. So I got to get that kind of in the right spot here. It should just pop down in there at some point. Sometimes the geometry is not right because they get bent and crap like that. I am just about there too. I can't. So it's got to be like that. Hopefully you're seeing this. I'm trying to. Oh, come on. Come on. Special. Oh, there we go. All right. So now we get it down in there. And if you see, it's holding it. See that right there? See how it's returning it? So now that we got it in there and we can see that the spring's working, it's actuating the right way. I'm going to back you up in a little bit and I'm going to show you how to coil this thing. So you need to have your rope stuck in this little notch, and that's so that it can clear the housing as you're coiling it up. And then we're going to stick the rest of this rope. Now, you can do this afterwards if you want to. I'm just going to do it beforehand. You can stick the rest of this rope through here, because this is how you'd be doing it most of the time, like that. So you need enough loop here that you can make circles with this, and that putting it in there allows the rope to run around. And let's put the center back in this thing before we get into trouble. So make sure I'm framing you guys right. I'm going to pause you 1 second. Don't come flinging out, just till I get my impact on. Hold on. Conveniently, my wife had left a couple of impact guns out, so I didn't have to dig all the way through my pack to get to one. So we're going to put this thing back together the way it came apart. I don't completely understand this pawl setup here. I just know that it's a pawl setup, and these pawls have got to go in between these like that. I'm not exactly sure why. Don't see that much on chainsaws. Try and get this thing threading down in the hole here. Okay. I am going to just grab I know that my arm's in your way, but a flathead scrunch real quick out of my chainsaw pack, just to kind of give a little grunk on that. So that's in place. All right. So and this should turn, I assume. It does turn. Turns pretty tight. So I think, yeah, I'll just do it from this view. One thing you're going to want to do is take yourself a set of hemostats and snap it on the rope up somewhere up in here so that it can't get pulled back into the thing. Now we're going to coil this thing up in the direction, so as it pulls it in this way, we want to go the opposite direction. And a lot of times, guys, I get this wrong. So I'm sure that this is the way it goes because I can see it pulling backwards. And you want to do this by hand. If you don't have one of these little holes to snap this in, you can keep turning this around itself to do it. But we're going to keep going until it kind of wants to stop. It's going to get to the point where it's really, really tight. The amount of times that you go are going to be the amount of times that this thing's going to go backwards when it coils in. Now, I can tell you this from experience. I'm going to actually wait on these hemostats a second because I want to make it so I can untwist this rope. I can tell you this from experience. You're almost always going to want to stop too soon. And you probably, most of the time, you're going to leave a little bit of slack in it. So, it's pulled out of that thing. So that your handle won't come all the way in. And if you do that, it's really simple. You just go inside. I'll show you how to do it after we get this one done. And you just do one more loop, one or two more loops really quick, and Bob's your uncle. So it's getting really tight right now. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to pull the rest of this pull cord rope through here. So now it's feeding through, and I'm going to snap my hemostats on it right there so it can't go anywhere. Okay? It's trying to pull it back in right now. Now, I don't know how much rope there is on this pull cord versus what's normal for this saw. So what we're going to do is I am going to hold it up here. I'm actually going to let this feed in, and we're going to check it. I'm going to kind of keep some pressure on it, but it's going to pull the rope in. And it wants to stop about right. Actually, it's almost going to pull the whole rope in. All right, so this is working really good right now. It almost pulls the whole rope in. So I can actually tie this in the handle just so a little bit of this is staying out, and I think we're fine. So I'm going to pull a little bit out, snap the hemostat, actually quite a little bit more than that. Snap the hemostats on it, just so I don't have to struggle with it. And we're going to put the pull cord, the pull handle on here, recoil handle. And we'll just put this thing through here. And we'll just make a knot in a comfortable position here. You go double. I am sure that there are people that do this knot different, which is fine by me. There's 100 ways to do it. I've tried it a million different ways. I'm sure that there is a, oh, well, you got to do it this way kind of thing. Like, I don't like the bite that I just put on it right there. I'm just going to take that bite out. I don't think I can dress it like this. Try. You just need this part of the knot to be bigger than the hole and to not want to come undone. So it kind of feels good. Yep, that's good. And we can pull this thing up here. When we get this thing settled down inside this hole, it's closer to the size of the hole it is, the better. It'll block it from coming undone. So I think that'll work fine. And now we can undo the hemostats. I'm still going to hold on to this. You don't want it to go flinging. Okay, now it's you can see it's all the way in. It's actuating good. You don't hear any of the thing clicking. Now, if you get it and this is hanging out like this and you have to go a little further, I'll show you what to do. What you want to do is you want to back this up a little bit and you want to take a loop out of it. So you can back up on this particular thing all the way around until this little notch gets over here. You want to kind of pull a loop out of it. Kind of jamming up a little bit there. You just kind of stick it through that hole and then you can go around an entire other time and get it tighter. However, I like the way it is like this. So I'm going to leave mine alone. All right, so pull cord's fixed. I like the way that my big knot's stuffed in that hole. It's not going anywhere. It can't get pulled through. Let's see. I'm going to pause you guys. We're going to put this, we'll put this on the blower and see if we can start the blower, see if there's any other immediate problems with it. Usually a broken pull cord means or a lot of the times it means something else. That something else is not working right. Oh, you can actually see, look at it, look at the cord they had on this thing. Look at this thing here. They had it stuck on here. That's not pull cord. So I'm going to back you guys up. We're going to pause you. I got to put some fuel in it, looks like. And I'll zip the pull cord after I got to get fuel first, and then I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I'll take you along for the ride here. I am going to see this fuel filter in here looks old and original. Just going to pull it out and see if I have a quick replacement here. This is a very, 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 if I say very again, very, 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 very old fuel filter in here. So we're going to pull this out and see if we have a good replacement for it. That thing has been around a long time right there. These even got the little clips on them. So see if we got a couple of candidates here. Yeah, actually, it's good because I have a brand new one that fits this line rather than two that I think are decent. Usually, if I pull a fuel filter off and I get similar symptoms, I keep the fuel filter that was on there. I don't have my everyday carry knife in my pants right now, so I'm kind of screwed. We're going to put a brandy new, this just happens to be a Husqvarna filter too, on here. So that saw, it gets rid of a variable. I'll charge them to the filter. I can tell you one thing, this one's been around a long time. It's probably original to this backpack blower, so this can only help. I'm going to throw that in there. I get these put away. These are just emergency backups. They're not brand new, but I know that they weren't the problem whenever I pulled apart whatever I pulled apart and got those fuel filters out of them. So I'm just going to go back with my go in the pack things. We're going to put some fuel in it. Also, since I don't know how long this has been sitting around, I'm going to put a little bit of seafoam in this because if it does fire up, this will clean the carb. If this has been broken for a long time, seafoam is the cure-all of the gods. Now let's put some 40-to-1 Red Armor Mix 2-stroke in it, which is all I use. Everything I run is 40-to-1, and everything I run is get Red Armor in it. Now, I don't want to throw a whole gallon in this thing. These things hold a ton, in case there's something else wrong with it. And now we'll go ahead and we'll toss on this recoil, and hopefully, we can get this thing fired off and at least get a little bit of seafoam through it, so it will be just like brandy new. Now it looks like these are T27s, typical Husqvarna T27, the impossible one to get. Just so you guys know, I use an I've used a lot of different impact ones. This is an Irwin. It's probably worn off so you can't see it. Oh yeah, there you go. So it's an Irwin T27. This one has lasted quite a long time. If you buy the cheaper Chinese ones, they'll break right here. The second best thing is the steel scrunch without the flathead, but with the T27. And I have a whole bunch of these steel T27s in my chainsaw pack, just in case. So we'll zip these out. The problem with the T27 is if you don't have one, you don't have one, and you're going to have trouble finding one because you just can't go to the store and grab a T27 off the rack. They don't exist. So we'll put those. Let's get my glove. Why do I have all these tools here? Danny, you're being crazy. Danny is like digging for animals over there. So we assume this thing goes on like this, and to get in between the paws, you got to kind of give it a couple yanks. It'll seat itself. Wow, those are way in there. Holy crap. Okay, stay there for a second there, thing. See if we can get these started by hand. These holes are way inside. Come on. There we go. Not going to want to start these with an impact gun and cross thread them. See if I can get one started in each one here. And you got to pull on this and get the pawls seated, or you don't want to crank those down with that thing on top of the pawls and bust it, which you can do. It's like taking one of those stupid chainsaw clutch covers that has the chain adjuster that sticks off the clutch cover into the bar and not getting it in the bar, and then hammering the screws down and busting the cover, saying, oh my God, my cover broke. Yeah, sure it did. No, you did something dumb. So I'm going to run these in kind of, just make sure. Yeah, feels like it's actuating right. I'm just going to run these in nice and easy, and then tighten them by hand. Come on, find the hole. Find the bolt. Come on. There you go. Whoa. B. Danny, Bumble just got me. And then we'll just put a mini gronk on them. Back in the star pattern again. Don't need anything super tight. Oh, come on. All right. I'm going to pause you guys. So here we got our, let's see what's on this thing. Looks like it says it has a primer bulb. Let's see what that is. It doesn't look like this one here. You find the primer bulb here. It says it has a primer bulb. I don't see a primer bulb. Oh, there's one on the bottom here. So we got a primer bulb on the bottom. This is choke on. This is choke off. And I think that's all we need to get this thing fired up. I'm going to pause you guys. We'll get over in the driveway on the ground, and we'll see if we can get this thing started. I do it here. I don't want to blow on all the crap in the back of my truck. So let me just pause you guys really quick. We'll just set up, give it a crack. All right, so if I look a little awkward with this thing, I apologize. I'm not a landscaper, and I don't use these very much. But there is a stop on the handle here. I got it off the stop. I don't have it on a very high throttle. I don't know if it sets itself that way when it chokes or not. But let's go ahead and pump up the primer bulb. There we go. Got fuel flowing. Primer bulb's nice and full. Put the choke on. I'm not shut off. This thing should fire now. We'll try it. So I'm going to let it run a second. Actually, I'll pick you guys up and I'll go around and blow the driveway a little bit here. Get it, I'll blow the driveway. Bonus. So that was actually a successful video there. Good to go. I'm actually going to throw it in the truck and take it back to him. I already started a slip for him, so I want to add to that slip for he's going to pay me tomorrow. So I'll add that to that slip. And I thought that'd be cool. So if you've never seen how to recoil a spring that's come shooting out of one of those recoil covers, that's how to do it. And looks like we're rocking good to go. Works, actuates great. Okay, it's not off, so it should fire right up again. Everything on it works. Looks really good. So now we got a little bit of seafoam in there, so when they do run, it's going to clean the carb. It's 40-1. They won't burn it up. Red Armor will clean shit too, and it stabilizes the fuel. And I think we're good to go. So appreciate the watch. I hope you guys found this interesting. Someday, like 40 years from now, somebody be watching this video and write me a comment. I will be 96 years old. And somebody will say, hey, gee, thanks for showing me how to do that recoil spring. It worked perfect. But that is just one way to do it. It works great for me. Sometimes the inside of that thing's bent too much to work right. In this case, that wasn't it. So appreciate the watch. If you have any questions, hit me up. And for Me and Danny, this Part Solutions out.